there anything?
Carol?
Unity sounds safe. Unity sounds strong. Unity sounds like the answer when everything feels broken. But what happens when unity is no longer a choice? When it becomes a demand? What happens when standing together quietly turns into standing in line? Unity has always been sold as a cure. When people are divided, unity is offered as the solution. When societies feel tense, leaders talk about coming together. When fear spreads, unity is presented as protection. The message is simple and powerful. If we stand as one, nothing can defeat us. From a young age, we are taught to admire unity. We see it in stories of nations surviving hard times. We hear it in speeches after disasters. We feel it during moments of shared grief or shared victory. Unity feels warm. It feels human. It feels right. And because of that, we rarely question it. But unity is not just an emotion. It is also a tool. At its best, unity helps people cooperate. It allows different voices to work toward a shared goal. It creates space where people can disagree but still move forward together. This kind of unity is flexible. It breathes. It grows stronger because it includes difference. Yet there is another version of unity that looks similar on the surface but works very differently underneath. This version does not ask. It expects. It does not invite. It demands. Slowly, the meaning of unity begins to shift. Instead of "we stand together," it becomes "stand with us." Instead of shared purpose, it becomes shared obedience. The language changes just enough that most people don't notice. Unity is no longer about cooperation. It becomes about compliance. And this shift almost never starts with force. It starts with words. Words like, "now is not the time to disagree." Words like, "we must speak with one voice." Words like, "any division helps the enemy." At first, these phrases feel reasonable. After all, who wants chaos? Who wants conflict during fragile moments? Silence feels like responsibility. Agreement feels like loyalty. Questioning feels selfish. But this is where unity begins to harden. When unity becomes fragile, it cannot survive questions. When it becomes nervous, it cannot tolerate doubt. And when it becomes a symbol of strength, it often hides weakness underneath. Real unity allows people to think. Weaponized unity fears thought. The danger is not unity itself. The danger is when unity is treated as something sacred, something beyond criticism. Because once unity is placed above truth, above conscience, and above choice, it stops being a bond between people and starts becoming a leash. And most people don't notice when it happens because no one announces it. They simply say, "stand together," and quietly add, "or stand alone." The moment unity stops being a choice, everything changes. At first, nothing looks different on the outside. People still use the same words. They still talk about togetherness, strength, and shared purpose. But beneath the surface, the rules have shifted. Unity is no longer something people join freely. It becomes something they are expected to accept. This is where pressure replaces persuasion. No laws are passed yet, no force is used. Instead, social signals begin to appear. Certain opinions are praised as responsible. Others are described as harmful. Some questions are welcomed, but only if they lead to approved answers. Disagreement is no longer treated as normal. It is treated as suspicious. People begin to feel it in small ways: a pause before speaking, a second thought before posting, a quiet decision to stay silent, just to avoid trouble. The message is never direct, but it is clear enough. Unity means agreement. And once agreement becomes the measure of belonging, fear enters the room. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being labeled, fear of being pushed outside the group. This fear is powerful because humans are social by nature. We don't want to be isolated. We don't want to be seen as the problem. So we adapt. We soften our words. We hide our doubts. We repeat what feels safe, even if it feels incomplete. Over time, this creates an illusion. From the outside, it looks like everyone agrees. From the inside, many are just quiet. This is how unity becomes a performance. People clap not because they are convinced, but because not clapping feels risky. They nod, not because they understand, but because standing still draws attention. Silence becomes consent. and consent becomes proof that everyone is on board. But real unity cannot survive this way, because when people stop speaking honestly, problems don't disappear. They sink. They grow in the dark. And when they finally surface, they do so with force. Weaponized unity depends on one fragile idea, that disagreement is dangerous. But history shows the opposite. It is not disagreement that weakens societies. It is the absence of it. When no one is allowed to question, mistakes multiply. When no one can challenge the group, bad ideas gain protection. And when loyalty matters more than truth, truth becomes optional. This is the quiet trade-off people are asked to make. Belonging in exchange for silence. Safety in exchange for honesty. Unity in exchange for choice. And most people don't accept this trade all at once. They accept it one moment at a time. One unasked question. One swallowed opinion. One time choosing comfort over clarity. Until one day your unity no longer feels like standing together. It feels like being watched. Unity becomes a weapon when it is aimed. At this stage, unity is no longer just about holding people together. It is used to push back, to control, and to punish. The language of togetherness is now sharp, not soft. It draws clear lines between who belongs and who does not. The phrase us versus them enters quietly, often disguised as protection. We must defend what we stand for. They are trying to divide us. Anyone who questions this is helping the other side. Notice how unity is no longer about shared values. It is about shared enemies. Once an enemy is defined, unity gains a target. And when unity has a target, it becomes powerful and dangerous. People are told that staying united means staying alert, staying loyal, staying in line. Doubt is framed as weakness. Questions are framed as threats. This is where unity stops being passive and starts acting. People who speak differently are no longer just wrong. They are labeled. They are accused of breaking unity. Their motives are questioned. Their character is attacked. The focus shifts away from what they are saying and toward why they are saying it. And this works because unity carries moral weight. If unity is good, then anyone who disrupts it must be bad. That simple logic allows harsh actions to feel justified. Silencing becomes protection. Exclusion becomes responsibility. Control becomes necessary. And all of it is done for the sake of unity. What makes this especially effective is how personal it feels. When unity is weaponized, people are not just defending ideas. They are defending identity. To disagree feels like betrayal, not debate. To question feels like abandonment, not curiosity. The group becomes part of who you are, and leaving it feels like losing yourself. This is how unity gains emotional force. People begin to police each other, not because they are ordered to, but because they believe they should. Correction comes from friends, family, coworkers. The system no longer needs to speak loudly. The group enforces itself, and the weapon sharpens. Public shaming replaces discussion. Labels replace listening. Short slogans replace complex thought. The goal is no longer understanding. The goal is alignment, and alignment feels safe until it isn't. Because once unity becomes a weapon, it must always be used. It cannot rest. It must constantly look for threats to justify itself. And eventually those threats run out. So the definition of them expands. First, it's outsiders. Then it's critics. Then it's people who hesitate. Then it's people who ask the wrong questions. The circle tightens, and inside that shrinking circle, unity feels strong but brittle. One honest thought, one unexpected question can crack it. That is why control increases as confidence fades. Weaponized unity does not trust people. It manages them. And the moment unity needs management, it has already lost its meaning. Forced unity always asks for a payment. At first, the cost seems small. A little silence here, a little agreement there. Most people tell themselves it's temporary, that things will return to normal once the crisis passes, once stability is restored, once everyone is on the same page. But forced unity rarely gives back what it takes. The first thing it costs is honesty. People stop saying what they truly think, not because they have nothing to say, but because saying it feels unsafe. Conversations become shallow. Words are chosen carefully. Real thoughts stay hidden. Over time, people forget how to speak freely at all. The second cost is trust. When people are afraid to be honest, trust breaks down. You never know what others really believe. Smiles become masks. Agreement becomes uncertain. Even inside the group, suspicion grows. Unity promises safety, but delivers tension. The third cost is responsibility. In forced unity, individuals stop thinking for themselves. Decisions are handed over to the group, the leader, the system. If something goes wrong, no one feels accountable. We were just following along. Moral weight disappears into the crowd. This is how harm spreads without anyone feeling guilty. The fourth cost is resilience. A society that cannot handle disagreement cannot handle change. When every challenge is seen as division, growth stops. Problems are ignored until they become crises. Unity that blocks criticism becomes fragile. It looks strong, but it shatters under pressure. And finally, forced unity costs something deeper. It costs dignity. People begin to measure their worth by how well they fit in, not by how honestly they live. Courage is replaced by caution. Integrity is replaced by survival. The goal becomes staying inside the circle, no matter how small that circle becomes. This is the quiet tragedy of weaponized unity. It does not need violence to cause damage. It does not need chaos to destroy strength. It only needs silence. Because when unity demands obedience, it no longer connects people. It contains them. Real unity can handle disagreement. Fake unity cannot. And the strongest warning sign is this. When unity is used to stop questions, it is no longer about togetherness. It is about control. And control, no matter how softly it speaks, always comes at a cost.